Welcome to the ManXChange podcast hosted by Coach Alfonso Short. Join him each week on Saturday mornings as he engages with his guests and they discuss men leading, boys thriving, and communities winning. The conversation is underway.
Good morning to everyone and Happy New Year. My name is Coach Short and I'm the host of a podcast, ManXChange. ManXChange is a safe community to be informed, to be heard, to be healed, to be honest, to be humble, to be whole, and to be transformed as men and as young men. My objective is to make a positive impact on the male youth of our community by them visibly seeing examples of men being active in their communities, showing integrity and humility in how they do business in the marketplace, how they do business and communicating with others, and how they also handle their business at home. I hope that you enjoy this show. And my host today will be a gentleman that became a dear friend of mine in the recent year, so to say. His name is Coach William Chapman. And Mr. Chapman, I'll have you kind of share a little bit about yourself, of who you are, where you're from, and some of the activities that you do participate in your community and with young people.
Yes, sir. My name, like he said, is Coach William Chapman. I'm a husband. I'm a father of three young men to be exact. I do a lot of coaching, a lot of motivating, a lot of inspiring young men, young women as well, but definitely young men. For I see that my structure is truly fit for young men. I coach a lot of the major sports, football, basketball, and baseball, and I happened to meet Coach Short at a basketball game, and from there we hit it off, and we've been together ever since, and it's been a pleasure to be up under his guidance and his leadership and his mentorship to help continue to shape and form and groom me, and what he's been able to pour me in over the last year or so has truly been inspirational to what I do on a day-to-day basis. Right now, I'm in the middle of basketball season. I already have my hat and whistle on because we just got finished doing a workout. But so in all of my seasons, I'm big on not just ball, but also academics. But not just academics, also being young men and what we need to do to be better for tomorrow and not just about today.
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to let the audience know that what was very impressive to me on meeting Coach Chapman was really by happenstance. I was getting ready to try to do a basketball clinic, and I was going to the parks and recreations in our area. We both were in North Carolina at the time. And everyone who was speaking to me that worked at the parks and rec, and people who were coming in, it was like, yes, you need to meet this guy, Coach Chapman. He's really about young men and women and what you're trying to do. And I think that you guys will work together with at least the ideas that I had presented to them. So I went to the gym one day. He wasn't there with the game. So I went the next day, and I didn't know who he looked like or what he looked like, but I said, I'm going to watch the games. And really, for me, it was not in judgment, but it was an observation to see how coaches relate with their players and with the family members. And as I watched, he stood out as a different type of character and spirit than the other coaches. Nothing negative on the other coaches and their actions or activities. I said that has to be Coach Chapman, because his kids are very disciplined on the floor, and they seem to be playing with team ball. And his spirit was, he was coaching and teaching them from the sidelines and not on the floor, fussing with the referees about what they should call or what they should do. And the referees were more receptive to listening to him, not changing calls, but then they started being more of a teacher to the young kids, because it was a young age group who probably first time playing sports, and they didn't need to be really scared straight with someone screaming at them from the coach or the referees. Aftermath, we met and I spoke to him a few minutes to let him know what we were doing. And he was like, I'd like to be a part of that. And we talked. I had a strategy already, but I said I'm open because I'm just presenting the camp. I want to utilize you with your expertise and what you do. And he shared the things he did. He shared that his wife works as a co-mentor and coach with him, though she's not on the floor. She's actually military and she was getting ready to leave the country. So he wanted to make sure that things were in order because he's also packing up to leave Fayetteville, North Carolina and move back to his home state of Georgia and finding a way that he could help me. And this brother extended himself. He has a system where, as he spoke of, he's not just teaching sports. The kids have to do, if you want to call it homework. This was summertime. He had young men and women coming to him for sports activity as well as learning activity academically. They read, they write about things they read. I'd like for him to share more about that because it's really about the core values that a young person should have, particularly young men, because we're speaking on behalf of men and young men and older men that we need coaching. So could you share some of your core values and also how you implemented those into the program that you do with kids?
Yeah, so big on my core values. First and foremost, we're going to have respect. You know, not only do you respect someone else, you have to start off by respecting yourself. Then we go with discipline and structure. No matter what age we are in life, the more disciplined and the more structured you are, will shape you into what you want to be in the near future. And then once we have that, the ball plan of it is the last thing, because once we have the structure, once we have the discipline, once we have the respect, then we're able to pour into you, because now you're acceptable to, oh, he's not just fussing, he's not just yelling. There's somebody who genuinely cares, who genuinely shows up for me day in and day out. I'm on the phone constantly with a parent here, a parent there. I'm at the schools, I'm at the when they do the award ceremonies, just to go eat lunch. So I'm big about showing up, because at this young age, you have to be a pillar of showing up and showing them the way. It's easy to tell somebody what to do. It's more challenging to be able to say, you know what, I want to show you how to do it. And so that's what I do. I do offer a lot of tutoring. Rule of thumbs: if your child is struggling on the floor, whatever sport he's in, if he's struggling there, 9 out of 10 he's probably struggling in school. So when we have a confident kid that says, you know, a lot of our kids say, oh man, I just can't read. And respectfully, it's not that they can't read, they're just not confident readers. So we get together and we did a whole camp this summer that went about 2 weeks long, from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, where we worked on football, but most importantly, we worked on growing as men and understanding that, hey, you guys have to be confident in what you do and how you go about it, and reading out loud on a daily basis, doing math, because every day we're gonna read, whether it's a telephone sign or a street sign, we're gonna read. Every day we're going to look at some type of numbers, whether it's financially, the speed limit. So get in the habit right now of saying, hey, every day we're going to read and we're going to write. Basketball season in, and the beautiful thing I love about basketball, because we get a chance to play into February, which is Black History Month, and all of my kids are required to do me a nice little essay on some of the former players that came truly before them that does not play in the modern day era. Of course, we know who Steph Curry and the Kevin Durant is, but let's see who the Oscar Robertson is and the Wilt Chamberlains of the world are, and they able to come and talk about it amongst themselves and educate themselves. I'm just here to pour into them, but they also have to know that their job is to pour into each other as well. So that's a little bit of how I like to go about it.
I think that's excellent, and the very things that you speak of, I agree, and I also practice a lot of that myself, because I believe that a kid or a person or a young man who's confident in himself. And what you're speaking is not just about a young boy playing basketball. It's about a young man walking into the work environment, walking into maybe the military. He's got to adjust. Just being in a new environment and having confidence in yourself, and also being open and willing to learn. Now, you mentioned things, but you did not say, and I say this, you are also a former military veteran.
Yes, sir.
And that's one thing that I noticed and I liked about him. We lived in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is Fort Bragg, or the new name that it has is Fort Liberty. I
Yes.
think it's back to Fort Bragg, but I could tell the discipline that came from the military. But also in talking to him, I said, this discipline comes from this young man's environment of men, whether it's a father or someone in his life. And
Right.
you then share with me things that you did. Your father was integral part of the
Right.
discipline, and then your mother held it up without a doubt. And
Right.
it's just something that was instilled in you, and you saw how to take those skills from home through the military and package it where it's digestible, so to say,
Right.
for young people in learning to do sports or anything that they endeavor in their life.
Mhm.
What would be something or some of the things that you're doing that you're most proud of at this point of your life that you never thought you would be doing?
Well, a little bit about me. I've thrived. I love dogs. I train dogs for a living, and I think the most thing that I'm proud of is when you don't know which way you're going to go, but you know that there's something for you. Uh, I didn't know that I was going to get into coaching and be what I am as a coach, but once I had my first son, which name is Kingston, once I had him and I started getting outside, and I remember growing up from my father. We used to go outside and we'll play baseball, and a bunch of kids would show up, and my dad would be the only father out there. And he always reminded me that, their fathers are somewhere. They may not be out here, but they're somewhere. And as long as I'm out here, I can be a father to everyone that comes around. And so once I had my son, and I always said that if I'm outside doing something with my son, or if I'm doing something, I would never turn a kid around. I would never charge a kid that truly wants to put the work in to be better young men. And that's the part that I'm proud of the most, because I've been able to touch a multitude of lives, uh, not just young but old as well. And when you're able to, being a young guy myself, and people look at me as one of those ones, the ones that we say, the great ones don't last forever. And that's true. The great ones don't last forever. When you truly had great ones in your life, they're only here for a short while. And you take advantage of the opportunities of the short whiles that you have. And so I'm proud of just being able to say, I took into my community, and I had a community to embrace me because of my values. And I was able to stand tall on my values and my beliefs, and didn't no one try to change me. They say, you know what? We can use some more great men like this. And if my young man can get up under you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, one day, 2 days, I have kids that's up under me 7 days. I believe that in me, that, hey, we can get some change to come about. And that's the proud moments that I have.
I think that's superb. And I saw that in the short period of time that we were working together, how not only other young men and their family members, mothers or fathers who were there, I saw it in how other coaches approached you, and they gleaned from you. And we did a weekend camp, and even the more I saw his recipe, some of his recipe on wow it works, on how it works for him and how receptive these young men are. I even had parents who would want to know, could their daughters come to, why don't you do a camp, Mr. Short, with Coach Chapman and you guys have women? I said, right now we're doing young men. Now, in saying that, me and Coach Chapman have talked for hours from the time that we met about different things that we could do to enrich the life of young people and help us as grown men learn how to connect with the next generation and be positive role models for them, and really those individual who we can help them learn how to use the toolbox of gifts and talents that they already have. And little do they know, and he felt the same way, that we're learning from these young people as we're pouring into them, because they bring the kid out that's in us.
Yes.
No matter what. I'm 62. How old are you, Coach Chapman?
I'm 38.
38. Okay. When he's speaking to me, and I appreciate it, and I have to grasp it, embrace it, and accept. He called me Mr. Short. So I said, we coach, because I'm gleaning from you. It's a respect. Respect is something he say is something that's in him. He's bred in it and he bleeds it, and I do too, I must say, and I'm glad that I do, and that's why I could appreciate having another gentleman like him be a part of what I'm doing, because I never want to be a misguidance to a child or their family or their hopes and dreams and aspirations of what they want to do. In the same process, with you grinding, we want to be with the ManXChange, that we share information and share with each other, that as we expand with our community, that we're able to help each other with things that we're doing, ideas, or being able to collaborate. And what are some of the things that you have on your plate that you're trying to start or that you're starting? And at some point, you may not know the assistance you would like to have right now, but as you grow, so that we can, as we expand, be able to communicate with other brothers who could help you.
Yes. The biggest thing right now that I'm working on is building truly my own program that will be able to truly stretch nationwide. We heard of Pop Warner and things of that nature, but I've been in the system long enough to know that I can respect the system and how I can branch off from the system. And so right now we're working on building our own program where we can concentrate on the academics. We have a lot of young people that's truly struggling academically, and I want to first be able to reach out and really be able to help academically, and then we'll be able to play ball.
Yes.
And so building my own program is a couple other guys that's getting ready to shortly end their careers. They've been in the military. They're walking down their 20 years, and we're in talks with different coaches out of Florida right now. We're in talks with different coaches out of Carolinas, that we can bring a program that we have like-minded men, that no matter where I'm at, that I know they're carrying the same mission that I want them to carry. And so that's the biggest thing right now is getting our own program off the ground within the next couple of years. Short term is continue to do what we're doing. School will be out. I want to say around May, June for some kids. We're hosting another big event for us. This time we're going to go for 3 weeks. We went for 2 weeks, 8 to 8. This time we're going to go for 3 weeks, from 8 to 8, where we're going to continue to get better academically. And I think what I did last year was so fun to the parents by actually recording our young men. Record how they read, record how they engage with each other, record some of their struggles. And I was able to take time out to talk to the parents and able to show their children where they're struggling at. And I think by doing that, that made them a confident student going into this year. But if you watch them play this year, a lot of those young men had great seasons. So that's the very short future, lining that up for this summer to get ready to bring in more young men, to bring in more adult men that's ready to carry out this mission to say if we can save one, we can save a multitude of them. And so that's the next step, because at the end of it, it's going to come down to the kids that come through the program. And when you put your hands on the kids that have come through the program, by doing it the right way, they're going to be able to come back and pour into the program as well.
Yes, sir.
And that's the core. You know, I have my core when I speak of my own son, when I speak of the Chris's and the Jais, and even the Casey's, which is she's the girl version of my son. That's a daughter of mine that I never had. But so with some of those kids, and they're the core value for me. And so knowing that what I'm being able to put in them, and seeing that their confidence is building, being able to talk to their peers and talk to even some of the younger ones, because we have some of the 5 and 6 year olds that's coming up and they're understanding the expectations.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing that knowing that these young men that I work with on average are 10, 11, 12 years old, and to see the trajectory go from I see what they are at 11, 12-year-old. Man, you can only imagine what it's going to look like at 15, 16 on the trajectory that they're on. And to be able to say, man,
particularly if they are academically confident, then that's what they will exude that confidence to their peers.
Yes. And so now you look at, man, by the time they graduate and they go off into the service or workforce or school, whatever God has in front of them, they're able to come back and say, man, it all started from here. And now I get a chance to do some of my due diligence in my community service.
Yes.
And be able to pass it back down.
That's what I love, giving back to the community, but equipping individuals, and particularly our men. We bear the burden, or we bear the award and honor of being leaders.
Yes.
And that comes in many different aspects, but we need to have some basic 101 skills. And sports is something that young men play, but we have to look beyond sports, because everyone doesn't get to be a super athlete or a famous actor, or get to have some glamorous job that seems like it's so easy. We're everyday people doing everyday things in our everyday communities. So how could we stay in touch with you, with website or phone number or whatever you have as point of contact?
The easiest way to always reach me is directly, with my number being 404-852-3616. I would love for you guys to reach out, shoot me a text message, or you can email me at William, WILLIAM, the number 06, 2 letters, MZ, M for Mike, Z for Zulu, at yahoo.com. And I would love for you guys to reach out, any questions, concerns, or that you guys want to talk about, any of the young men that feel like they're falling short, because sometimes our young men have to hear from different voices, and there's nothing wrong with that. The more people you have in front of your young people that mean them some well, I guarantee you the better off they will be.
Thank you. And that's a wrap. That is a mouthful. And I really appreciate you, Coach. You know, we'll be expanding this conversation. We'll be sharing this information on our podcast at another time. And I want to say to everyone, this is what ManXChange is, the objective of ManXChange, and what we plan to do and what we are going to do. We're going to thrive, we're going to lead, and we're going to win as men in our communities. Thank you.
Absolutely.